Brother's right, no, I don't.
My name is Randolph McLaughlin. I'm one of the lawyers in the Chamberlain case. With me, point them out, Deborah Cohen. She made the argument in court today. To my left, Bobby Muhammad, another one of the attorneys. Mayor Bartlett, another one of our attorneys. Danielle Sullivan, the latest member to join our team. With me is Ken Chamberlain. We'll make statements, then we'll take questions. Today, Judge Seibel has ordered the City of New York, the City of White Plains, to stand trial for the killing of Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. The judge has denied the shooter, Corelli, who was a defendant, his motion for summary judgment. She said there is sufficient evidence for this case against Mr. Corelli to go forward to a jury and let a jury determine what happened across the street at 135 South Lexington. She has also concluded that the City of White Plains must also stand trial under state tort law because they hired an individual who there's sufficient evidence to go forward, arguably committed an assault and battery against Mr. Chamberlain. This case has been in this courthouse for close to 5 years now. 5 years, Mr. Chamberlain has been seeking justice and to determine what happened to his father, why was his father killed in his home after his medical alert button went off. At long last, the search for truth and the search for justice for Mr. Chamberlain will unfold in this courthouse before a jury of his peers. And we look forward to the opportunity to present the evidence that we have amassed that we believe will conclude that the City of White Plains is responsible for the death of Mr. Chamberlain and that defendant Corelli is also responsible for the death of Mr. Chamberlain. We fully believe that that is the conclusion a jury will reach after it has heard the evidence that we will present. Now let Mr. Chamberlain speak briefly and lawyers can speak as well. Mr. Chamberlain?
It's kind of hard to really put into words.
Take your time, bro. Take a breathe, baby. Breathe, baby. Probably proud, baby.
Finally,
Let the world see.
take your time, brother.
That's all right. Let the world see.
We're finally getting our day in court. I'm pleased with the decision that the judge made to say that there is sufficient evidence. This is something that we've been saying the entire time. And that the evidence that we found out it's very disturbing. How could you have law enforcement officers like that working in your city? So with that being said, it just goes back to May of 2012 when there was a failure to indict. This proves that there was no full and fair investigation on the part of the Westchester County DA. And I'm asking the Department of Justice again to come to the City of White Plains, investigate the police department, not just for civil rights violations against the citizens out here in this city, but even in their own department. When you have officers being hit with chairs, you have officers that have successfully sued this department. There's something wrong inside there, and I blame that on leadership. To the elected officials in White Plains, I just simply say, what say you now that the judge has said that there's enough evidence to move forward? Will you now admit wrongdoing, or will you still stand by this lie that you've been telling the entire time?
That's right.
There will be justice for Kenneth Chamberlain Sr.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
One thing, the trial has been set by the judge for November the 7th. November the 7th, we'll be selecting a jury and then proceeding immediately to trial. Any lawyer would like to speak? All right. We'll take questions. Please direct the questions as you wish. What are the claims that say? The claims against Officer Corelli are under the federal constitution for violation of constitutional rights under the Fourth Amendment that he used excessive force, and there are state law claims against him as well for assault and battery. They essentially revolve around the use of the firearm. And in terms of White Plains, under state law, an employer is responsible for the torts committed by their employees. So in this case, Mr. Corelli was an employee of the city of White Plains when he took the actions he took in the scope of his employment, and under state law, the city of White Plains can be held responsible for any torts or misconduct that Corelli engaged in. Ms. Cohen?
Deborah Cohen, one of the attorneys for Kenneth Chamberlain. What's clear now after the judge's ruling, that what this trial will focus on like a laser beam is what was happening at the moment that Officer Corelli shot Mr. Chamberlain. We believe, and the judge has said, that we established sufficient information in the record to move the trial, to put this question to the jury. We believe that excessive force in regard to feedback shotgun put Mr. Chamberlain on the ground. I'm going to say that clearly. We are going to put before the jury evidence that Mr. Chamberlain was on the ground after being brought down by the force of 4 shots from a beanbag shotgun that the city's own information says is equal to the force of a punch from Mike Tyson or a fastball by a pitcher in the major leagues. And that this man who had serious health problems, which the jury will hear about, could not possibly have bounced up like some sort of low-flying superhero after being fell to the ground to continue to be a threat to anyone in that room. And that's what we're going to focus on, is to show that the time that he was shot, Mr. Chamberlain was on the ground and a threat to no one.
Mr. Bartlett will have a few words, then we'll take questions.
It's crystal clear that one of the things that has to change is the way the police unions are able to operate. And if you look at unions throughout the country, the most powerful ones are the police unions. They're the only people who don't have to give a statement with respect to their conduct and can maintain their employment. Now, they should certainly be granted Fifth Amendment rights. They should not have to incriminate themselves, but if they cannot give an immediate and clear statement of what transpired when someone is dead, that person who cannot give that statement should no longer be able to take advantage of the privilege of being employed as a police officer. And what we're dealing with right now is multiple police officers who've had an opportunity to confer with one another, to defer their statements, and to come up with a common statement. And that undermines the trust in police across the board. It puts their fellow officers at risk. It makes us question their fellow officers' behavior and the execution of their jobs as well. There is no other union, no other employment in the world where you have that right. Not one of us here could engage in conduct where we are mistreating other individuals and not have to give an explanation as to how that occurred and have an expectation that our job would be waiting for us.
Well,